In this video, we're going to be creating the arm for our rig. So what we're going to do is we're going to go from pose mode into edit mode, then go into front orthographic view. Now what we want to do here is we want to adjust the location of the 3D cursor. So in the view tab of the side panel, increase the location value. Hold down shift if you need to get more control. Position it about here. Then move it on the X axis, again using shift if you need, to about here. Then hit shift and A to create your next bone. Now what we have been doing up to this point is we've been naming our bones after creation. But whenever we use shift A, we are actually able to name our bone straight away. So I'm just going to do that here by naming this as my shoulder bone. And then I'm going to grab the head and position the head about here. Let's just zoom in on our bone here. And then we're going to extrude out to the elbow point. So this is going to be the upper arm bone. Hit E to extrude and position. Pan our view, E to extrude, and then extrude one more time for the hand. Now before going any further, what I'm also going to do is I'm going to hit 7 on my number pad, and I'm just going to reposition these bones to be in a more suitable position. So hit L to select them all, and then hit G and just move them back to about here. And a handy thing here is going to be select this area, which is the tail of our lower arm bone, and just move it back just a little bit. So there's going to come a point where if you have a straight line, it's going to create an incorrect hinge, which is going to create an issue for when you begin moving your arm with the rig. By moving this tailbone back a little bit, it's going to hinge in the correct direction. You're going to see what I mean by that a little bit later on. So here we're just going to select each of these bones and then rename them. So this is upper arm. This one is lower arm, and this one is hand. Now, if you've got a much more detailed hand with fingers and everything, then you're going to need more than just the one bone. But because we have a very simple low poly character here, we're just going to use a single bone just to keep things nice and simple. So that's the arm fully created. We're not going to do the second one yet. Before we go any further though, we have created 4 different bones here. However, we need to do 2 things. First of all, we need to create a control bone. This is going to be used to move the arm. To do that, select the hand bone and hit Shift and D to create a new bone. Then just hit the right mouse button to put it in the same location. It only needs to be in the same location for now, and rename it straight away to hand control. Now one thing we haven't done yet with these bones in particular is we haven't determined whether they are the right side or the left side. This is a very important step. So what I want you to do is I want you to put a period key or full stop and then press R. Now I'm going to use a capital R and press enter. So this control bone is hand control.R. We're going to add this suffix onto each of these bones. Now to make selecting bones easier, toggle X-ray to select through our objects. So if I left click again, I have selected my hand bone. So let's name this hand.R. Then we're going to have lower arm dot R. We're going to have upper arm dot R, and then finally shoulder dot R. The last thing we're going to do in this video is we're going to create a custom shape for our control bone. So with the control bone selected, we're just going to go back into object mode. Then we're going to reposition the 3D cursor and add a new object. This time I'm going to add a cylinder. I'm going to rotate this cylinder, so let's try rotating it 90 degrees on the x-axis. This might be wrong, but I'm going to reduce the number of vertices down to 8, the radius down to about 0.09, and then the depth is going to be reduced to about 0.2. Then what we're going to do is we're going to go back to our armature, go into pose mode, and we're going to change our custom object from the standard object to our cylinder. Turn off scale to bone length, then select wireframe, and at the moment it's in the incorrect direction to what I want, so I'm going to go back into object mode very quickly, select our cylinder, edit mode, rotate on the Z axis. Oh, that's not correct. Let's try the Y axis, X axis. There we go. So rotate on the Y axis. And ironically, that ended up being correct in the first place. So let's rotate that by 90 degrees. And that should be perfect. So now let's hide our cylinder and select the armature, go into pose mode to just confirm the shape of our hand control bone. In the next video, we're going to be doing the leg. So we're going to be doing the right leg of our human character.